Get to your assigned seating at the reserved red pews. It will be assigned alphabetically, so just find your name on the pew.
So the hooding, that's going to be part of the hood. So they're going to hood, but there's not a good spot here. And I'm going to let them know that they're not going to have a good view of the hooding, maybe where they're at. Okay. But I'll have you stand maybe in front of the little rock thing right here. And you will... Greetings. Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. It's great to have all of you here. I am Dr. Chad Jackson, and I serve as the DPT Program Director here at UIW. I welcome you to the School of Rehabilitation Sciences Doctor of Physical Therapy Graduation Hooding and Award Ceremony to celebrate the achievements of the DPT class of 2025 students and their faculty. Before I recognize our special guest, the UIW President, Dr. Thomas Evans, sends you his greetings as he regrettably could not be with us this morning. I now recognize two special guests who are here today to celebrate your success. Dr. Dimitri Tamales, Vice Provost, and he also represents our Provost, Dr. Eva Fernandez. Thank you, Dr. Tamales, for being here. And graduates, someone very familiar to you, our keynote speaker, Dr. Christopher Rodriguez, alumnus of the UIW DPT class of 2019. Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez, for being here. I would also like to take a moment to recognize some individuals who played a key role in the success of the students of the UIW DPT class of 2025. As I call your group, please stand to be recognized and remain standing. I will ask the audience to hold your applause until all individuals have been recognized. School of Rehabilitation Sciences staff and all faculty, please stand. Friends and families of the graduates, those of you who are able, please stand. Graduates, please join me in thanking them for their wonderful support these past 2.5+ years. You may be seated. I now invite you into the invocation this morning as we center ourselves. I will first share a passage from the Holy Scriptures and then ask if you would join me in a prayer. The Apostle Paul is writing to the believers in the city of Colossae from his prison cell in Rome. He shares in Colossians chapter 1, starting with verse 9, quote, "Since the day we have heard about you, we have not stopped praying for you. We continually ask God to fill you with the knowledge of his will through all the wisdom and understanding that the Spirit gives, so that you may live a life worthy of the Lord and please him in every way, bearing fruit in every good work, growing in the knowledge of God, being strengthened with all power according to his glorious might, so that you may have great endurance and patience, and giving joyfully thanks to the Father who has qualified you to share in the inheritance of his holy people in the kingdom of light." When I read this, I think about you, graduates. So this morning, I invite you all to join me in prayer. God, may you reveal yourself and fill these graduates with the knowledge of your will. Would you give them wisdom and understanding to live with purpose? May they bear fruit in the works they put their hands and minds to. May they grow in the knowledge of you. Strengthen them as they continue in their pursuits to grow in knowledge for the board exam so they can serve others. May you give them much endurance and patience. May they receive your strength and operate daily with what you provide. Bless us this morning, and thank you for the opportunity to connect with one another. Amen. Many of you may have noticed some of the graduates wearing a white coat that was presented by their faculty advisor today. To give those in attendance some context, within our program, we provided students the opportunity to determine how they want to use their class funds. Class leadership provided opportunities for each student to choose something meaningful. And more than half the class chose a white coat as it signifies meaning as they enter into our wonderful profession. Those that are not in a white coat chose to have a diploma frame while still appreciating the meaning of the white coat. At this time, I invite Dr. Scott Schaefer, the UIW School of Rehabilitation Sciences Associate Dean of Academic Affairs, to say a few words about the meaning of the white coat.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson and the faculty for this opportunity. And I want to also recognize Vice Provost Tamales, Dean Sander, my battle buddy, Lisa McDougall, who's been instrumental in all of us getting to this point, and as people. Also, most importantly, I want to recognize the family and friends. Thank you so much for being here today. And then really, this is all about you guys. This celebration today and tomorrow, the white coat, and talking about the white coat, represents the clinical. There's two things about today's ceremony. The white coat is the clinical recognition of the commitment that all these folks have taken. And the reality is white coat ceremonies often happen early in programs. They can also happen between the preclinical and clinical phase. We had a hand blessing ceremony that some of you were at for that. Or it can happen at the end. The reality is the white coat, what it represents is the commitment that you have as a healthcare provider, that you will commit yourself to that care of that patient and that is your primary focus. The other part about the white coat is it allows you as an individual to realize that you're part of a healthcare community. And all of these folks have done this. What's so exciting about today is we get to celebrate the clinical accomplishments of this group, and we get to celebrate with the white coat as a symbol of that, and then we also symbolize the academic rigor and what you went through to get here academically with the hooding ceremony. So excited about this opportunity. I will just want to share that, to put this in perspective about what this group has done and how they're different at the phase they're in right now, is that they have been in the clinic now for 9 months. To put this in perspective, this is a very conservative estimate. If they were seeing 5 patients a day, which I know that's a very, 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 very conservative estimate, but on average, and you think about the time, that's about 50,000 visits that have happened in our healthcare community and communities across not only this country, but across the globe. And that commitment that they've already shown aptitude from the clinical perspective of what that means to wear the coat and make the commitment. And the coat is a reminder. It's not just the reminder of the commitment, it's often discussed about the weight of the coat. What do you take on when you put the coat on? And that is the responsibility to always treat others, to be at the highest level. And this group has absolutely shown that aptitude. And moving on, what's most exciting is the next phase of this, is the reality that what is the next phase? The next phase is that you still wear the coat. You still represent. And we talk about the coat. Now it's polos with your name on, it's scrubs, but you still wear that and you signify yourself as a clinician in rehabilitation sciences and in rehab and in physical therapy. The power of that now is that the reality, just think about this, after graduation tomorrow, those are your notes you sign. No one's co-signing those notes anymore. It's that relationship that you have with the patient, right? It's that management piece. And I will just say this, and I think I speak for all the faculty. The clinic it's a privilege to be a provider. It's not a right, it's a privilege to do it every single day. It has been life-changing, I think, for any and all of us that have been in the clinic. To this day, the day that I wake up and I'm going to the clinic, I'm extremely excited about it. It's energizing, but it's still that piece and responsibility of what you're doing to try to make sure that it's better. And this group is absolutely there to do that. I have no famous quotes for you at the end of this. I have no ultimate words of wisdom, just to say thank you. It's been a joy, but most importantly, so excited for this next 6 months for you and what that growth's gonna look like. And please remember, we're all here. This relationship doesn't end tomorrow. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Schaefer. Graduates, as I mentioned earlier, we truly have a wonderful profession. I sincerely hope that because of the time in your program, you are ready to embrace and live out all the core values of a physical therapist, which are as follows: accountability, which is to accept responsibility for your actions, your role as a member of the profession, and the obligations you have. Altruism, placing the needs of others ahead of your own as a physical therapist. Collaboration, working together with others in your respective role. Compassion and caring, demonstrated by your empathy and concern for others. Duty, serve the profession and influence the health of society. Excellence, consistently use your knowledge and skills, understand your limitations, learn each day, which starts with reflection, and challenge mediocrity. Inclusion, acknowledge your personal biases, elevate others, create a welcome and equitable environment for all. Integrity, Be truthful and operate with a high level of ethics, even when others may not know of your actions. Follow through on commitments and social accountability. Be an advocate for the societal need. I ask you now to reflect on one of my favorite quotes from John Ramstead. Quote, "Am I living a life so the use of my life will outlive my life, so you may continue to build a meaningful legacy?" Graduates of the UIW DPT class of 2025, I'm very proud of you, to have you as colleagues. I want to now set the stage for a memory-building moment for you, or at least have you pull back a memory, to provide everyone here with some context. And I remind you, graduates, I'm going to provide some information from yesteryear. At orientation in August of 2023, you sat with excitement and terror as you began your DPT journey. One thing you may not remember until now is that you were provided with the following information. Quote, "Send a time capsule to your future self," end quote. In that time capsule letter, you responded to the following 4 prompts. 1, as I begin my journey to become a physical therapist, I feel like. 2, my biggest 3 fears and concerns are. 3, one area I would like to grow personally during my time in the DPT program is. And the 4th one was picturing yourself sitting here today or at graduation. What words of wisdom would you share with your future self? So, here's what you're being asked to, either now or at some point today. Open the letter you wrote, read it. As you leave today, I hope you will share some of the following thoughts with your family and loved ones. Do you feel the same as you did in August of 23? I doubt it. Or what ways have you grown? Did you experience what you hoped? Share with those, your friends and loved ones, 1 or 2 defining moments that you experienced as part of the journey. What thoughts or feelings do you have as you launch into your career? So have those conversations later today. All right, I'm going to introduce our keynote speaker. Dr. Rodriguez is a physical therapist in San Antonio, Texas. He currently works for Methodist Healthcare System as an acute care neurological specialist and part-time professor here in our DPT program. Graduates know him as Dr. Rod, the beloved professor in their patient-client management class. In 2023, Dr. Rod earned his board certification as a clinical specialist in neurologic physical therapy. He graduated here from UIW with his DPT in 2019 and from Texas A&M University Corpus Christi with his Bachelor's of Science in Kinesiology in 2016. In his free time, Dr. Rod enjoys working on art, and he and his wife enjoy staying active and exploring the outdoors. While this is his formal bio, it's truly my distinct pleasure to invite Dr. Rod to the podium this morning to bring a heartfelt and encouraging message to you. He has grown into an expert clinician and has been a wonderful teacher in our program. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Rod as our keynote speaker.
Good morning. To all friends, family, and loved ones who came out to this beautiful church to help our students celebrate this occasion, I wish you a very warm welcome. To my esteemed faculty and colleagues alike, I continually give my gratitude for what you've done and continue to do, not only for me on my journey to this point, but for all that you give of your time and of yourselves to positively influence every subsequent generation of soon-to-be colleagues in this UIW family. And to each and every one of you, students of our class of 2025, I extend a heartfelt thank you for allowing me the honor of coming to speak to you this morning. I'm both thankful and honored. I'm both thankful and honored to have been given this opportunity to be here before you today. And I hope to be able to impart one last bit of heartfelt wisdom before you start your journey as our peers. You know I always love to ask you all questions during our time together in class, and today's no exception. Sorry to you guys who thought I was going to be any different today. I'm going to ask you one more question, and I hope that you'll think on it periodically when you're practicing in your own right, whether it's weeks, months, or even years from now? What makes you a professional? To many of us here, that might seem to be a bit of a silly question. Maybe it's something that you've always thought was self-evident, or maybe something didn't even bear consideration in your mind. Maybe professionalism is one of those things where you'll know it when you see it. But is it really? I can tell you that when I first graduated from PT school back in 2019 and joined the workforce shortly thereafter, I hadn't yet formed an image of what Chris, the professional PT, looked like. I began my career with what felt like a lot of knowledge gleaned from years of both scholastic and experiential pursuits. And I thought, at least at first, that I was ready to take on the world. But that illusion was very quickly shattered, not just for me, but for everyone in the healthcare sphere. I was always told to stay a lifelong learner. And while that bit of wisdom is something I still hold dear, I hadn't expected to be sent back to lesson learning so quickly. I was only about 10 months out of PT school when COVID-19 swept the nation. And I'd be lying to you if I said that I had all the answers. Really? Honestly, none of us did. It felt in some ways as if I was starting from the ground up all over again. But when the push to involve therapy services finally came, and we in healthcare began to realize that more and more rehab was going to be a vital necessity for these patients afflicted by this disease, it came time for me to make a choice. I was, for a long while, the only therapist in the hospital who was actively evaluating and treating patients with COVID. For just over half my time doing so, we in the healthcare world waited on pins and needles for a breakthrough to come, for some sort of best practice guideline to show us the steps to treating the illness effectively. I say this to you all to put something into perspective. That whole ordeal was over 5 years ago, and yet in many ways, it often feels like it was just yesterday. When I entered the ring, so to speak, I came in with knowledge that served as a foundation, but I still had a lot of learning yet to do. I didn't let that lack of knowledge stop me from jumping in though. And I would venture to say that not having all the answers didn't stop me from being a professional. In many ways, it was because of the ignorance that I was able to grow. But if knowledge alone doesn't make a professional, where does professionalism come from? I have an idea or two that might provide some food for thought, as the word professional has many definitions and just as many, if not more, interpretations. As we all know all too well, the world we live in is constantly changing. The settings in which we practice, and sometimes our roles and places in them, are ever dynamic. We know that as individuals operating in the medical field, regulations and legal frameworks make up a good deal of what we can and can't do. Sometimes those decisions lead to positive impacts on patient care, and by extension, positively impact the manner in which we as PTs function as part of the healthcare team. As we also know, when the holistic nature of the healthcare team isn't also taken into consideration, we, among others, might stand to lose that title of professional when it comes to our schooling. But what's in a title? To both understand the relevance of a professional degree and signify its importance to our practice, you as soon-to-be practitioners must be aware of the potential ramifications of that loss. For one, this may likely have an impact on accessibility to schooling for those who wish to enter the field. We know that school, especially graduate school, is not cheap. And the financial ramifications of some of these new directives may ultimately have a negative impact on those who, up to this point, might have been able to afford becoming a physical therapist. While the long-term effects of these policies have yet to be revealed, you must also think about how this might potentially impact the willingness of payers and insurance to cover therapy costs, especially for those patients whose coverage may already be limited or less than optimal. Unfortunately, uncertainty is a part of life, and cultivating the skills to navigate it is a lifelong process that I myself still have to practice every day. But I wouldn't come here to speak to you guys if all I was going to be was the bearer of bad news. You guys know that's not my style. So that's why I want to provide another gift to you. You all have the power to take ownership of that title. There's so much more to being a professional than what extent of knowledge you've got growing in your head. And thankfully, we've got an inkling into what society tells us being a professional means. When you go into the world and become a professional, it's a lifelong process that requires cultivation and a commitment to growth and excellence. This university and your time spent in your clinical affiliations have striven to help instill senses of competence, integrity, and responsibility in you. And I hope that that fire in y'all never ceases to burn. I'd be lying to you if I said that maintaining a professional persona is easy. It's not, trust me. And you'll likely have numerous instances where people or circumstances chip away at what you've come to cultivate. Maybe it's a verbally abusive patient, an overbearing family member, or even a less than respectful interaction with someone on your own team. Those little interactions push our buttons because we're human, but I know that you all have the capacity to show integrity even when it's tough. It's my hope that as you grow in your careers, regardless of what setting, location, or specialty you choose, that you can create and craft the professional persona that you can be proud of. The idea of being a professional, therefore, should be rooted in what you strive to embody and what you bring to your clinical practice and to the patients you serve, regardless of how new or experienced you are as a PT. Are you the therapist who's there for the patient and not just the paycheck? Are you an advocate for the patient who's uninsured and lacks the means to make the progress that both of you know they can? Are you a liaison and someone who actively builds bridges with the medical team to provide the best quality care and standard of care for your patients? What does professionalism mean to you, and how are you going to achieve it? In closing, you all are standing at the threshold of what stands to be a new, often uncertain, but nonetheless exciting time in your lives. I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to play even a small role in your education, and I hope that you'll remember my clinical anecdotes and occasional dad joke as you reflect on the time that we've spent cultivating yourselves as professionals. It's been so exciting to watch you all grow and develop, and I know that each of you are going to go on to do great things, not just for the profession, but for those patients and family members who need you the most. Know this as you prepare to enter the clinical world. The title of professional can be given and taken, but the knowledge you've curated and the skills that you've gained can never be taken away from you. Through your courses and your academic career, I and your faculty have often stood in front of you and helped to deliver the information that you'd need to grow into budding professionals in your own right. Now, as you all prepare to take your next steps and begin journeys all your own, I'm proud to say that we'll soon instead stand by your sides, eager to help you grow however we can. I know I speak for all of us here today when I say that I can't wait to call you not just a professional, but my colleague too. Thank you.
Thank you. And a small gift.
Thank you so much.
I would now like to invite Dr. Todd Sander, Dean of the School of Rehabilitation Sciences, to present the Class Adjunct and Core Faculty Awards.
Good morning, everyone. It is my honor to address the faculty and present these awards. As the new guy, most of y'all don't know me very well. And it is just a blessing to be here and an honor to present your hoods later on. But right now, we are going to recognize the faculty. And before we do that, this is my 5th month at the university, and I have just been amazed at the level of skill and talent and the dedication that this faculty to my right makes to pour themselves into the group of people that are graduating tomorrow. And I just want to take a minute to recognize every one of you for that. So. But it's time for the graduates to have an opportunity to recognize the adjunct faculty member and core faculty member who had the greatest impact on their personal and professional development. Nominations were submitted over a period of time, and the nominated individuals were placed on a ballot and sent back out to the class for a final vote. It is my honor to announce the recipient of the Class of 2025 Adjunct Faculty Member and Core Faculty Member Award. Students nominating the recipient of the Adjunct Faculty Award indicate that this person is an excellent professor. This person is always available before and after classes to discuss topics. They provide research evidence as well as clinical experience into the course, and this faculty member is patient when working with students and finds ways to adapt an explanation of the topic in a way that complements the student's learning style. Congratulations to this year's recipient of the 2025 Adjunct Faculty Award, Dr. Christopher Rodriguez. The Class of 2025 selection for the recipient of the Core Faculty Award has been a strong supporter of them during their time as students. This faculty member is described as genuinely a positive person who is always available to help students and one who goes the extra mile to help ease tensions, especially around exam time. This person challenges students while meeting their different learning styles. This professor provides interactive learning activities, helps students to grow, and always wants the best for their students. One student said, "This professor does more for us than people realize." Please join me in congratulating Dr. Mona Baines as the recipient of the Class of 2025 Faculty Award. All right, I'd just like to say two things before I step down. First of all, whenever I've brought a class of PT students into a cohort at orientation, I've always encouraged them to talk to their family members, their significant others, the important people in their life, because life's going to change, and your priorities are going to change, and it's going to impact not just you, but the people that you love. And I know that you've all experienced that. And so the people sitting across from you and over to y'all's right, have been patient and been kind and have waited for this day when they get you back full time. So I want to encourage you first to recognize your family here today and give them a round of applause. And I also want to encourage you to turn that around now. You know, the individual tests, the things that are from day to day, week to week that have been important to you, make sure you make time for those events now and don't miss the events, get back there for holiday meals, travel home, and just make sure that you pour yourself back into your family and those who you love. The second thing is there's a lot of talk about return on investment in physical therapy education right now. And I want to tell you, there's more than just money involved in this return on investment issue. I just encourage you to find what you love to do and figure out a way to make that happen and make that work. So most of you came here with an idea that I'm going to be an orthopedic or a sports or a pediatric or a neuro practitioner, and I would hazard to guess 30% of you changed your mind while you were here. And that's okay. That's what this exploration is for. But now that you found it, do something to go pursue that. Find your passion, do what you love, and you'll never regret work one day. All right, thank you.
I'm Dr. Lisa McDougall, the Assistant Dean for Academic Success and Student Affairs, and it's my privilege to announce our student awards this morning. Before I begin the recognition of student award recipients, I would like to thank all of our faculty, staff, clinical instructors, and students who took the time to nominate a student for our awards. I also wish to thank the members of our awards committee. They had the difficult task of reading each of the nominations for student awards and selecting the recipients. Please stand and be recognized. Dr. Erica Alanis, Dr. Nathan Brown, Dr. Amy Wagner, Dr. Matt Walk, and Dr. Megan Ware. And now on to the announcement of our award recipients. The Doctor of Physical Therapy Spirit Award is given to a student who has demonstrated living the values of the school and the university's mission within the school and their professional community. The recipient of this award is nominated by his or her peers. This student is described as one who is always willing to help others succeed, always prepared for class, and a person everyone should strive to be. This student exemplifies the values of the school's mission. The student participated in service through the Owaka mission trip and was a catalyst for change in the community clinic by advocating that students be able to see the patient the same patient throughout the semester. Congratulations to Brittany Edwards, recipient of this year's Spirit Award. Our next award is the Leadership and Service Award. This award is given to a student who demonstrates motivational leadership impacting their academic, professional, or community environments. Students are recognized for demonstrating the leadership qualities of initiative, diligence, integrity, and confidence. Students considered for this award are nominated by faculty and staff and selected by the awards committee. This student has demonstrated leadership and service in a variety of ways, including advocacy of the profession through TPTA and APTA, serving the community through regular volunteer work and participation in the Owaka mission trip, serving as a tutor even after starting clinical rotations. This student also continues to seek out opportunities to learn more about the PT profession and neurology specialization in general. Please join me in congratulating Diego Garza as the recipient of this year's Leadership and Service Award. Our next award is the Community Service Award. This award is given to an individual who demonstrates care to others through service to the community or the school. We received multiple nominations for this student. One nominator wrote that this student regularly volunteered their time helping to translate for other students with our Spanish-speaking patients. They were active with the UIW School of Rehabilitation Sciences Spanish Club and were also active with our Owaka mission trip. Congratulations to Carla Ponce as the recipient of the Community Service Award. An important area of the student's development as a healthcare professional is professional practice education. The Developing Clinician Award recognizes outstanding clinical performance in terms of desire to learn, as well as the development of skills in a consistent manner over the course of the program. Students considered for this award were nominated by clinical instructors. This year, we received 23 nominations for this award and have selected 3 recipients. It was great to hear the wonderful comments from the CIs for all of our nominees. One nominator for the first recipient of this award wrote, quote, "To say that I was blown away at this student's skill level, knowledge base, and overall interactions with patients would be an understatement," end quote. and this was on the student's first rotation. The nominator went on to state that patients would often come up to her and rave about the student. Patients expressed that they felt seen and heard, genuinely cared about, and that our student helped them get back to pain-free lives. A second nominator wrote that this student was consistently motivated to learn from every opportunity available, and this student showed so much compassion and empathy to all the patients in some of their worst moments. Both nominators expressed that they know this student will become a phenomenal PT. Please join me in congratulating Joshua Olivares as today's first recipient of the Doctor of Physical Therapy Developing Clinician Award. We will make sure that Joshua gets his award. Our next recipient for this award was also nominated by 2 CIs. One CI expressed that this student is the best student he has ever had in a clinical experience, and he's had almost 20 students. This student was described as one who dedicates extra time to perfect their craft, establish rapport with every patient, and to demonstrate a work ethic that was unmatched. Another CI stated that this student's foundation of professional behavior gives the student great insight into any personal biases they may have had, and that the student treats everyone with respect and empathy. Congratulations to Eric Jen as a recipient of the Developing Clinician Award. Our final recipient of the Developing Clinician Award also received 2 nominations. This student is described as excelling in a highly complex patient population, providing excellent patient care and impressing both families and staff. The student was also described as being extremely prepared for their rotation while integrating greater understanding and deeper learning during the rotation. The nominator also wrote that this person will be a great addition to the profession of physical therapy. Congratulations to Olivia Santos as our final recipient for this award. Our final award, the Student Award of Excellence, recognizes a student who not only achieved the highest standards of academic excellence, but also demonstrated strong leadership and service to their school, their community, and to the profession, and who role modeled the mission and values of the university. The recipient of this award is selected by the program director. The student not only excelled academically, but also made a great impression during clinical rotations. Congratulations to this year's recipient of the Doctor of Physical Therapy Student Award of Excellence, Joshua Olivares. We have a tradition, which we continue today. Each year, the graduating class is asked to nominate and vote on a student within their class to speak at the awards ceremony. I am pleased to invite Eric Jen to the podium as your student speaker for the class of 2025.
Hi, everyone, and good morning. On behalf of the University of the Incarnate Word, School of Rehabilitation Sciences, Department of Physical Therapy, Class of 2025, I would love to extend a warm welcome to all family, friends, alumni, professors, and guests in joining us together to share such a special day and milestone in our lives. To my fellow graduating classmates and friends, who would ever thought that this day would come? From scratching our heads during our first PTR class, struggling to differentiate between specificity and sensitivity, to sitting here exactly 24 hours until we become doctors of physical therapy, I couldn't have asked for a better cohort to have done this with. to share the moments of challenge and reward, stress and laughter, caffeine addiction, and questionably competitive spikeball matches. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be a part in one of the last memories we'll all share together as physical therapy students. And I hope to make these next few minutes as meaningful as it has been to grow alongside you all through this journey. I spent the last few days reminiscing, going through our old Canvas dashboards, which hopefully we all never have to see again, and even opening up old case modules too. If you don't remember, case 37 was our final case on pregnancy. And I thought to myself, how symbolic this is. It's like PT school was pregnant with us, and this whole time, clinicals were the real final case. Case 38, the birth of a doctor of physical therapy. Now, as we leave the class wombs and become the professionals we sought out to be, I wanted to share a few notes of reflection and hope to impart a sense of excitement and direction for our future as we begin our careers as physical therapists. There's a quote that says, "The day that you plant the seed is not the day that you harvest the fruit." And I really resonate with that quote because up until now, I struggle with the idea that when you are on the pursuit for success and positive change in your life, the progress along the way can be difficult to see and the outcome or result may feel so far away. As we wrap up this significant chapter in our lives, I want you guys to take a moment to reflect on times where you worked through adversity or uncertainty. Like the time we were all humbled by the first anatomy exam, or being uncertain if your soft chalk was muted as you snuck in some extra studying for that very same exam in Protops. Sorry, Dr. Ware, Dr. Wagner, Dr. Luna. The harvest that we reap now as new grads is only as plentiful and full as it is because we endured those challenging moments, because adversity provides fertile soil for growth, and because we chose to nurture, water, and tend to the seed that we all planted exactly almost 3 years ago when we received our acceptance letters. And while we should most definitely celebrate and feast on our accomplishments now, the next season is just around the corner. With new territory to navigate, new storms to endure, the next seed of our future is being planted now as we speak, and with even more uncertainty when we will recognize whether or not our fruits of our labor will be recognized 1, 5, or even 10 years down the line. So remember what fueled your drive to push and work hard during school, even when the goal was blurred by fog. For many of us, our motivators and support systems may look different, but I know that we all share one thing in common, and that is the confidence that we all fostered within ourselves, the true root that keeps us grounded and allows us to flourish, especially in times of hardships. So please don't forget to water the plant, unless you're really resilient like a cactus or something. The last thing I wanted to mention and acknowledge to all of our amazing professors is that I think I finally get what your favorite phrase is, "it depends" means. I think I speak for all of us when I say it was very frustrating to receive that answer when we all expected a more direct one. But in retrospect, the phrase "it depends" is truly the embodiment of our profession. It depends doesn't necessarily mean there is no right answer or solution, nor does it mean that the answer or solution is unknown, but rather that many factors must be taken into consideration before one can be made. Kind of like if you asked me if I wanted to get Tinka Taco, I'd probably say it depends, but usually it ends up being "no, I'm okay" instead. I bring this up to thank our professors for challenging us to think with this notion, because out in practice, the answer to a patient's problem truly does depend on many factors. While it may feel ignorant to not know the right answer right away, following the principle of "it depends" actually demonstrates sound decision-making and necessary insight. It requires us to think past the physical impairments presented by the person in front of us, and is the difference between treating a patient with just hip labor and pain versus treating a patient with hip labor and pain that also has to run a full marathon in 9 weeks while studying for boards and applying for jobs. "It depends" teaches us to never be complacent in our knowledge or skill as physical therapists, to seek continuous growth and improvement, and to recognize that our profession is multifaceted in so many ways. We are movement experts, but also the biggest motivator for the 120-year-old college soccer player devastated by an ACL injury. We are strength and mobility coaches, but also an elderly man's favorite part of the day yapping with you, distracting you from the amount of notes you are behind on. We are healthcare educators and advocates, and possibly the difference between whether or not a person will decide to make a change in their lifestyle to combat the detrimental effects of cardiovascular disease. We are the future of this profession and a driving force in creating significant impact in many people's lives. To say that I'm excited to see what new doors of opportunity will open for us would be an understatement. And I know many of you all become leaders, directors, or business owners in the field, researchers in the latest evidence for effective intervention, or professors in academia leading and guiding the next generation of physical therapists. I urge you to dream large and wide in your career, because truly our potential is limitless. Having known you all for these past few years, I know how sincere, intelligent, caring, and compassionate each and one of you guys are, and it is those exact traits that will carry you far, but may also become a double-edged sword and cause burnout and stress. A fire doesn't die because it burns too hot, but because the fuel that supplies it becomes expended. As you will all begin to excel in your career, remember to take care of yourself, give yourself grace, and lean on those who have supported you thus far: professors, family, friends, significant others, or energy drinks. Dive headfirst into your interests, be ambitious and passionate, and most importantly, be unapologetically you. I can't say for certain what our outcomes will be, but the reality and truth is that it will depend on you to make it happen. And I wanted to go just from the heart a little bit at the end and just truly thank the professors for always pushing us, always being there for us, giving us the resources for us to succeed, and being our #1 supporters throughout these past few years. Thank you to my family and friends that are sitting over there for always being behind my back as well, and being just a rock to lean on. And thank you to my classmates, all of you guys, for sharing this amazing journey with me. Like I said, I don't think I could have asked for a better cohort to do it with. It has truly been one of the most memorable 2.5 years of my life, most impactful and significant in my life. So cheers to us, cheers to the hard work that we have put in, and congratulations, class of 2025.
At this time, we will perform the doctoral hooding for the class of 2025. Graduates, the significance of this hooding this morning is to display and celebrate the work that you've done to this point in your professional journey. May you experience a sense of relief and joy as the hood is placed upon you. Graduates, please listen up. I'm going to give you some instructions. I'm not done teaching. As Dr. McDougall calls your name, you will come to the front of the table, where your faculty advisor and Dr. Sander will place the hood on you. Please pause for a photo. You will then walk to Dr. Schaefer, where he will present you with 2 lapel pins designating your graduating class year. You are invited to give your second pin to someone who you believe has supported you throughout your time as a student. Faculty and graduates, at this time, I should say advisors and graduates, at this time, please go to the back, and graduates, please put on your regalia. Please place your hood over your right, yes, your right forearm. Your advisor will lead you. Faculty and graduates following your hooding, please stay in your regalia for a photo we will have at the closing. That's now. Please get up, go find your regalia. Advisors, please assemble your advisees. While the faculty and graduates assemble their regalia, for the rest of you, I want to provide some historical context to the meaning of the academic regalia, and specifically the hood. Much of this context comes from the UIW and Intercollegiate Registry of Academic Costume. Yes, I didn't know that existed until a couple of years ago. But they are a nonprofit educational organization dedicated to preserving the history of the American academic regalia. The origins date back to the medieval European universities of the 12th and 13th century. It is not clear if the regalia finds its sources in the church or the civilian attire. The gowns may have been necessitated for warmth and comfort in the medieval university. The hoods may have served as a head covering, later replaced by a skull cap. The late 1800s and early 1900s signified a time of significant university and college growth. The universities at the time saw a need to standardize the academic dress. The university leaders gathered and decided to have a system where the gown, cap, and hood could signify both the degree and the institution where the degree was conferred. There were later changes to the academic costume code, but the basic premise exists. The different caps, gowns, and hoods often communicate the degree and the institution. At UIW, the doctoral gown is distinguished by a velvet facing down the front with velvet bars across the sleeves, surrounded by the color distinctive of the subject to which the degree pertains. Specifically for physical therapy, that color is teal, as it's the designated color for physical therapy degrees and also aligns with our professional organization, the American Physical Therapy Association's logo. When examining the history and meaning of the doctoral hood, its color signifies the degree earned, and the length and fullness differentiates from a master's or baccalaureate hood. Friends, family, your loved one, your graduate, will be getting a photo from the photographers here. If you're going to take a photo, please do not use flash photography, and please stay out of the way and don't block the view from others viewing. Dr. Alanis, how are we doing with your group? For everyone in attendance, may each of you be full of joy as we honor your graduates' accomplishments.
Graduates, as I call your name, please pay attention to how I pronounce it, because I will be calling your names tomorrow at commencement. So if I screw it up today, please make sure you find me so I get it right tomorrow. All right, are we about ready? All right, if our first group will come forward. Our advisor is Dr. Erica Salazar Alanis. And our first student is Roberto R.J. Aguirre. Why don't y'all move a little forward, guys? All right, Armando Alvarado III. All right. Again, that was Armando Alvarado III. Leon Bamadan. Tyson Buchenbach. Karen Carrasco. Alyssa Castillo. Ricardo Serta, Jr. Alejandra Collier. Advisor, Dr. Mona Baines. Alexis Copeland. Addison Copley. Andrea DeLuna. Serena Derrick. Gerard Digdigan. Brandy Durden Gonzalez. Brittany Edwards. Our next advisor is Dr. Kathy Goey. Deja Charleston. Megan Garcia. Diego Garza. Blake Giffen. Antonio Gonzalez. Victoria Gonzalez. Jace Guillory. Jordan Hunter. Our next advisor is Dr. Deborah Kaliski. Alicia Jeffries Perez. Caleb Jewett. Jorge Jimenez. Eric Jen. Ryan Landrum. See here? Nope. Okay, sorry. Just want to make sure. Han Liu. Our next advisor is Dr. Scott Schaefer. Austin McGalgan. Teresa McCaud. Samantha Miller. Bailey Minnick. Gabino Mora. Savannah Moreno. Our next advisor is Dr. Susan Smith. Jason Mudo. Daniela Murillo Santiago. Alexandria Neji. Santiago Ordonez Villaseñor. Tyler Paradise. Amber Paveka. Our next advisor is Dr. Matt Walk. Carla Ponce Mesa. Avery Ramirez. Joshua Ramirez. Zitlale Robles. Moriah Rodriguez. Caitlin Salazar. Philip Sanchez. Our next advisor is Dr. Chad Jackson. Olivia Santos. Royd Santos. Matthew Tenen. Emily Vaklavic. Alexis Vera. Mason Vetter. Leah Villanueva. Kevin Winchester.